my video on reconditioning the forks for my 2001 Triumph ST. If you haven't seen my introductory video, please go and have a look at that on my YouTube site. I'll give a bit of a background to what I'm doing and why I'm doing this. I'm going to start today by washing up all the bits and pieces out of the first fork, and then I'll lay them out so we can have a bit of a look and see what's in there and what they all do. Okay, wash up's done. That was fun. Anyway, things are all washed up, dried out and laying up here on the table. But before I get to showing you the bits and pieces in the forks for this Triumph, I wanted just to talk about motorcycle front suspension in general. Like, why do we have it? Why do we need a spring dampened system in the front of a motorcycle? A good example I could use to start this is that I have another bike here. It has no suspension whatsoever, yet I still find it fairly comfortable and safe to ride. Why is that? This is solid forks and solid rear. Well, it's not really true that it hasn't got any suspension at all. This has suspension via give in the tyres, and more importantly, it's got suspension via give in my body, in my elbows. And given the weight of this bike and me and the fairly low speeds I'm going at when I hit a bump, I don't find it very uncomfortable at all. I mean, it's not as comfortable as riding on the flat, but it's still quite comfortable, and I managed to maintain contact between the bike and the road, or the wheels and the road, without dangerously bouncing everywhere. So why do we need suspension on a motorcycle? I mean, quite apart from our own comfort when we hit bumps on the motorbike, probably the primary purpose of the suspension is to maximise the engagement of the tyres with the road. If you can imagine, if you had solid suspension like that on, for example, my BMW touring bike, which I think is about 230 kilograms without the rider, put me on at close to 100, put 50 kilograms of gear, put my wife on the back as well, and you're looking at, 400 to 450 kilograms traveling at, 100, 120 kilometers an hour. You hit a bump there, it's quite a different matter again. And if you had a solid suspension setup, you'd leave the ground, you'd bounce everywhere, it's quite dangerous in addition to being rather uncomfortable, I suspect. But the earliest bikes, in fact, didn't have suspension. The first 1923 BMW R32, if you want to pick an early bike, actually had totally solid suspension on front and back with a mild bit of cantilever plate spring on the front that basically gave it a little bit of play, absolutely rigid rear, and then there was some springs in the seats. So, you know, they did address suspension a little bit, but then we're talking about a motorcycle here that weighed little more than 100 kilograms and couldn't go much more than 50 kilometers an hour. So obviously BMW then were pretty in the business of keeping comfortable seats, as you can see from the photo there. But nonetheless, people rode this bike in their everyday business, and they raced these bikes without proper suspension. So I guess the big issue for us is that when we're going a lot faster and we've got a lot heavier bikes, we really want a system like this, whereby the fork tube is attached to the chassis, the handlebars, and the slider is attached to the wheel, and when we hit a bump we want to be able to go down and bounce back up without the whole bike going up and down like this. So you might think, okay, that's good, we can have sliding tubes like we have, and we can throw in a spring, all's good. But you could imagine if it was just a spring in here, you'd be like a pogo stick. You'd go down and you'd be bouncing like this every time you hit a bump. So most motorcycle forks have a coil spring and hydraulic dampening system. The most standard one uses a damper rod. There's some that use cartridge type systems, which I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about, but they actually have their own advantages. Some suspension systems on bikes actually disaggregate the spring or the suspension with the dampening. My BMW R1200R is a good example of that. It has a telelever front suspension where the forks, all they do is the dampening, and you have a separate spring. I'll talk about that. I think I've talked about that in another video. So with that as a bit of a prelude as to why we have front suspension and the sort of sliding tube forks we have, I'll show you the bits and pieces of the Triumph fork before we go about putting them back together. Okay, so here's all the components of my fork laid out. Let's see if I can talk through this in some sort of logical way to give an idea on how it all works. The two primary components are this, which is called the slider, the fork slider, and of course this is where the axle of the front wheel goes through down the bottom, so you've got your two parallel sliders with an axle and your front reel in between those. And the other primary component, I guess, is the fork tube or the stanchion, which actually moves down within the slider to give you your suspension. So within the fork tube you've got a range of other elements. As I said, it's not just a single spring. This is a progressive spring, by the way. You can sort of tell maybe in terms of the windings of it there. It doesn't, a progressive spring basically means that the force needed to compress it another centimetre changes with its compression degree. This is used in conjunction with, I think, quite a simple and ingenious damping system. So this is called the damper rod. It has a much smaller spring here that is called the return spring, or the top out spring. This spring sits on top of that, and then this damper rod sits right down in the bottom of the tube, the fork tube here. It sits out like that. We have a thing here called the damper rod seat that sort of clips over the bottom, but that currently has the suspension on it of the return spring only. So the main spring sits in on top of that, to the top of the damper rod. There's a little washer that goes in there. It's called the spring seat. A bit of a spacer, and then on top of this goes your your top bolt, which is where you've probably seen on the top of forks you can adjust the preload on the forks. You can wind that out to either push the spring down a little bit or have it looser. Now meanwhile, on the stanchion here, because this fork tube moves up and down the stanchion, it needs bearing surfaces. So this at the bottom is just called the bottom bush. They're bushes, I guess. There's no ball bearings or anything, or races or anything like that. It's a simple bush. There's a top bush here that sits over the top of the tube as well. You see that? And that's effectively just fits neatly within the slider and allows this tube to be supported as it slides up and down. So I guess in real terms that bush sits in the top like that, and then on top of that comes in a little seat, and then you've got your oil seal. So your oil seal runs down top like this. It's all sort of fitted in. Your oil seal will sit there and effectively seals off, creating two chambers. Oh, I should say that damper rod and the seat at the bottom of that damper rod is then bolted into the bottom of the slider. It can't move. The damper rod doesn't move at all. So when this thing moves up and down, the damper rod stays in place, the spring compresses, and when it comes to bounce back, you've got that little spring there that works the opposite way. I've got a nice little video I might put up there just showing how that little return spring and the mainspring work in concert to sort of dampen the movement of these two tubes together. But really the big thing that causes the dampening is that we've got two chambers here now. We've got two chambers which we fill with a hydraulic fluid, in this case an oil or a dampening fluid. So what happens when we hit a bump and the fork tube slides down there, it displaces the oil that's in the bottom and tries to force it into that tube there. Now, that's all good, but how can it get into that other tube? Well, it turns out it can only get into it through a couple of very restricted little elements here. This hole here, whenever this fork tube slides down inside the slider, to force itself down, it has to not only act against the spring, it also has to force the displaced amount of oil through a very small hole. And then also on its way back, it sucks it in through a different hole further up here. So what actually happens is the hydraulic fluid acts to control the motion of the spring or damp the motion of the spring. And it's all about forcing it through these little holes. So yeah, that's effectively how the spring works. It's the most common type of spring, I should say, the damper rod system. There's others with cartridges and so forth. As I said before, to be honest, I'm not as familiar with how they worked. I've never had bikes that have had those on it. But this Triumph has the conventional forks with the damper rod system, and that's how they all work. Obviously I need to replace my oil seals and dust covers, because these are the ones I've cleaned up from previously. Okay, probably garbled that enough for everyone, but that's basically how the suspension works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my other fork apart so you can see how you take it to bits, or how I take it to bits. I'll clean that one up as well, and then we'll put them both back together and we'll get them back on the bike, and effectively the job's done.